All right, so welcome to A&M 412 multimedia or multimedia animation. So I am Jonathan Cohn. You can call me John. You can call me Cohn. You can call me nothing because we won't really interact that much. This is going to be an online course. So this is basically just an introduction of how I'm going to run things. First thing that you need to do is this. Open up your browser window, preferably Firefox. That would be best. And what you're going to do is you're going to go to my website, and that's where I'm going to post all my materials, okay? So, and I'm actually just going to go through this as we do it. So it's just teachmecone.com, okay? So that's my website I use for all my classes. So basically, these are the ones I'm currently teaching in the Visual Communications Department at Cecil. You guys are this one, A&M 412. So you just go there, go to Multimedia Class 1, and each class will be posted on here as they come through. And then inside of here will be the stuff. Now, the reason why we want to use Firefox is that this little applet here won't work in Google, or it's a little bit tricky. So, but just so you can see, like, this is the kind of thing we'll be doing. So I can click here, and then you can see, like, inside of the actual thing here, I have I'm doing bad in it. But you get the idea that you can actually, the games are actually embedded into it. So that's nice. So you can do interactive content and things. And that's sort of the stuff that we'll be doing. All right. So welcome, course introduction. All right. So basically, I'm Jonathan Cohn. I'm a freelance animator. Well, you can read it. But basically, I do freelance animation primarily. I'm a assistant professor at Cecil. Mostly what I do there is teach game design and 3D animation, 2D animation, web design, and digital imaging. Okay, so you can actually visit my website here, which I did not make a URL. All right, so, but it's just notchcone.com. That's just my personal, has my demo reel on it and stuff. So if for some reason you want to go there, go for it. I wouldn't, but this is a picture of me. This is what I look like. This is my email address, so if you should need me, just email me here. I try to keep on top of it as much as possible, and I will email you back as soon as possible if for some reason you have an issue. I'm also going to try and, I'm not usually a big Skype guy, but I'm going to try and stay on Skype all the time, so if for some reason you have a quick, like, hey, how do you do this? You can just quickly Skype me, and then I will reply. And also there's a way to, like, share screens and things like that, so we can, if for some reason I need to help you more, hands-on, I can do that. This is just a visualization demo reel. I have a bunch of different demo reels. This is just kind of a generic one. You can watch this if you want. It's not that exciting. I'm not going to waste time on it. But there it is. Okay. So you can download the syllabus here. All you do is you click on this and it will download. You can save, or you can just let it open so you can kind of see it. Because generally it's supposed to show it. So I went over here and let it in. All right. But this is basically the syllabus. So you can read through this if you want. I try to make each week what we will generally be doing. You can read through it. There really isn't anything all that exciting in there. But that is the syllabus in case you were wanting of that. So the course description is basically, it's going to help you guys develop skills to produce interactive content utilizing Unity. Okay, so Unity is actually a game platform, but we're going to use it for interactive content. Okay, so the objectives are basically to understand Unity as a whole, like just how the program works, just like you had to learn Photoshop or Maya or any of the other various applications. Plan and complete pre-production stuff for multimedia production, right? So before you do anything, the most important thing is to have a good plan. Create content basically that is efficient for real-time environments. So basically what that means is you can't have really, really high resolution images because it's being rendered real time, meaning that, like, the computer is displaying it as you're seeing it, as opposed to something like if you do an animation in Toon Boom or in Maya, it gets pre-rendered. It renders it into a movie, and then you just watch the movie. It's not rendering it as you're watching it. When you're doing interactive content, generally it's being rendered real time. So, any video game or anything, right? Because you turn left, it's rendering that turn as you're pushing the controller. So produce appropriate controls and UI elements for intuitive interaction. So obviously just user interface, that's obviously a huge thing in general for both video games and interactive content. There's a ton of jobs I see that are looking for people that just are going to do UI design. And then publish complete self-containing projects viewable on a variety of devices. One of the reasons why we're going to use Unity is you can actually export out into iOS, PC, Xbox, PlayStation, Android, web, all sorts of different things. So it's a very flexible program. So this is going to be an online course. So what that means is it's an asynchronous online course. Okay, so that was a new term to me. But basically what it means is that we're not going to have live classes. So obviously I'm not there. I'm not going to be saying, hey, and throwing out awesome jokes. You're just going to hear me. You're just going to hear my voice, which is terrible, but my mug is not much better. So maybe we're better off this way. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to present the information, things I want you to learn on my website. And we're also going to utilize this D2L tool, okay? Basically, it stands for Desire to Learn. It's just a learning management system. So if you're familiar with Blackboard, or they used to have CAMs, I think they still do have CAMs mixed in on here. But it just allows you to have a virtual online space so that I can teach you via the web. Now, I'm honestly not going to use that to any great extent, other than for you to submit your homework assignments utilizing that. And I'll also use it to email you. But obviously, it'll just go to your normal email, so you don't really need to know that much with it, okay? This is the first online course I've taught, so there's probably going to be some adjustments, so some things might be wrong this semester or these first couple of weeks, and then I'll try to adjust them. If something's not working for you, let me know, and it's a learning experience for me as well. Now, that D2L, Desire to Learn, you can actually click here. It will pop up, all right? Or actually, if you don't want to use that, if you just go to Villa, at the top, you'll see up here, it says D2L. So you just click on that. And then that thing I just had will pop up, hopefully. Come on. It hates me today. Here we go. And then you put in your password. And I don't remember what mine was. Let's see. Come on. You remember nothing. Okay. But you'll log in there, and then you'll submit assignments in there. You'll see a folder that I made, and you're going to upload your stuff onto that, okay? So that's the D2L. All right, so overall, how this course is going to work. There's going to be 4 major projects throughout the course, okay? And then each one of those is basically broken down into assignments that are due each week, okay? So pretty much every assignment's worth the same value because it's however long I give you to work on that assignment. And since everyone's 1 week, that's the overall value. Now, mind you, because they're bigger projects and each assignment is part of the project, each one is going to build on the last. So like if you don't get your graphics done the week before, when you're supposed to add your interactivity, you're going to be kind of screwed because now you got to do your graphics and you got to do your interactivity, okay? Now, I could be like, oh, it's just due at the end of these 4 weeks, but then you'll never do it. You'll wait till the last minute because I know how you guys work. All right, so that's the same way I work. So I'm trying to make it do in sections to keep you on track to make sure you get things finished, okay? So generally speaking, what you're going to notice is for each assignment, I'm pretty much going to have like a pre-production assignment, which more or less is like just laying out the plan, storyboards, treatments, things like that. And then the next assignment is going to be to create the graphics, whatever the content is that you're going to use. The next assignment after that will be adding the interactivity, so making it, move, and when you click buttons and things happen. And then lastly will be like polish, so just, overall massaging it into something that doesn't look too terrible, all right? You're going to have, these are the 4 projects here. It's a motion narrative, educational program, 2D game, and a 3D game, okay? So this is going to be kind of a gamey course, if you will. I'm putting quotes in the air. You can't see it, but in that, games are interactive, okay? So the motion narrative, basically what I'm going to have you do is you're going to create a story and in 4 panels, and then it's going to just be somewhat interactive, and there's going to be some motion involved in it, all right? So it should be relatively simple. It'll be 2D, pretty easy. The second one, educational program, what I want you to do is find some sort of subject matter, and then you're going to basically try to break it down and describe it in a way that, the viewer can try to understand the concept more easily. And that could be any number of things. If you have, like, your dad is a doctor and he's a chiropractic guy and he wants to explain the difference between lumbar and thoracic and cervical vertebrae, like that might be something, you know what I mean? Or any number of things. Or you want to explain how an engine works. that kind of thing. Okay. 2D game will be very much open. It's basically going to be up to you. You get to choose what you want to do, but it's going to be a game that's just 2D. Usually something simple. I would say like a platform game or like a Galaga style game, something of that sort. Okay. 3D game will just be a 3D game. So again, it's kind of your choice. You can still do a Galaga and a platformer, but you could also do a first-person shooter. You can do any number of things. Okay. So start thinking about maybe kinds of games you want to do. Don't do anything that's too crazy. It's got to be simple because we don't have a lot of time to work on it. It's more about just you guys understanding how it works. All right, so introduction to multimedia. So one of the problems I have, and we have the same course at Cecil, and I remember when I was at Villa, they were discussing the course. Multimedia is a really vague term. I mean, it just means the combination of multiple forms of content. So like multiple and then media, the content. So literally it just means jamming together different types of things. So I mean, like it, you know, usually it's like text, audio, imagery, motion, video, interactivity. I don't find that to be particularly really useful. So what I am going to do is make it more about interactivity. I think they really should, you know, we should generally call the course interactive media or something of that sort, because you guys already know how to make animation. You already know how to make video. You probably know how to make text, right? You just type. You probably know how to do a bunch of those things, but the thing you don't know how to do is the interactivity. And so that's kind of the area that I'm going to concentrate more on, because that's so I think you'll get more out of. Okay, so I will talk about making graphics and things, but more as they adhere to using, you know, making things efficient, right, and process, and making sure that they work for the system. Now the thing is to remember, you know, like we're mostly gonna be making games up here, but this sort of material can be applied in any number of ways, right? So most of you guys probably went into animation because you want to work at Pixar, right? Or maybe you want to work in like special effects or something of that sort. Usually when everyone thinks about it, they always think about the entertainment industry, but there's so many other applications of animation, right? There's medical visualizations, court reenactments, architectural visualizations, all sorts of things, right? A ridiculous amount. Same thing with multimedia, right? So you can make video games, but probably the number one thing I see, and I even have to do it myself a lot of times, is like educational and training. That's a huge thing, because really video games are all about mastering concepts. Now usually it's like, you know, shooting zombies in the head. You get better and better at it, and then you get rewarded for it. But basically you're trying to drive chunks and build skill. And so there's actually a missed opportunity in video games in that they could teach us more things. But generally speaking, multimedia content is very good for that. So thusly why we're doing the educational program. But there's a lot of other aspects and applications for it as well. Okay, so your first thing that we're going to be doing is more or less an interactive story. So one thing to remember, and I'm sure you've taken your film theory courses, is that storytelling is meant to be a participatory event, right? An experience. You're affected by the story. If you watch like an action film, your heart starts to race, right? If you watch a scary movie, you feel scared, which is completely ridiculous because you're watching a movie. Because you feel as though you're part of the experience, right? You feel as though you're scared for them, but also in a weird way for yourself as well. Interactive storytelling has the same basic concept, but one farther, right? So you can read a book, but then they have the like choose your own adventure book, right? So you theoretically you have more to gain or to lose. And again, it's a lot like video games in that, you know, video games generally are a story. It is a film, but you're driving the character, and that's the same thing that, you know, with the interactive elements. You can go at your own pace. You feel more involved with it. All right. So Unity. Unity is a game development software. It lets you make 2D and 3D games. There's some really cool games that are made in it. It's not necessarily the most graphically attractive. In fact, it's probably one of the less, although this last version, they upped it quite a bit, but it's really, really dynamic. And it unifies so many things. You can make, you can import so many formats. You can import Maya natively. You can import Max natively. You can import Photoshop natively. You can import all these different formats with no problems. It'll automatically convert them to what it needs in order for them to work. Now, it's better to do it yourself, but it can do that. It can also export out in a variety of different formats as well, which is really awesome. So we're going to utilize that software. I'm going to stop this video, and we'll continue with another one, and we'll go from there.